incumbent? Will it be him? Will it be someone else? Well, we'll just have to wait.
And you've brought out something that's really, sometimes I wonder Ugandans why we have double standards. We've just buried the late Cecilia Ogwal.
Thank you very much.
FDC affronting the daughter. When Ken Uchams left parliament,
he fronted the
daughter. When Jacob Bolanya died, the son came to parliament. When Sena Nabanda, you know, this has been everywhere. Why not for Muhoozi if he feels he wants this, and Ugandans are the ones to decide? This double standard. Anyone who dies in the near future,
yes,
if they have a son, they'll still say, let the son come. You know, let the daughter come.
So we cannot be the same people who say that
yes, really,
let the son or the daughter step into the shoes of the deceased parent, but then when it comes to the presidency, then all of us do not want it. If we do not want it, if we don't want
precedent has been set
to
already
replace their parents, then we should actually start from LC's constituencies, members of parliament. We should shun it all across the board. But we cannot say that it is good here. No, what is good for the goose should be good for the gander.
And in law, a judge can look at precedent to give a ruling.
Exactly. But Jerome Paul, good morning to you once again and our viewers. And you mentioned something to do with LDC students graduating.
The bar course.
Yes, they graduated and actually not graduated, they passed. Yes. Not all of them though, because according to reports, over 701 passed. There were 2,087, 701 passed. 894 are required to recite supplementary exams, and 492 completely failed the bar exams. Now, in as much as 492 failed, I still think that this is quite a very huge improvement compared to the results that came out in 2021, where 90% of low LDC students failed. Over 1,500 students failed.
Many attributed that to COVID.
I don't know if it was about COVID, but what I remember is that the LDC said, you know, lately they removed the pre-entry exams to enter, to start studying the bar. And the LDC said that because of that, now you don't know the quality of students that you are enrolling. And because of that, we see that many students are failing the bar exam. Now, anyone who knows the law, whether here in Uganda or across the world, the bar exam is the hardest exam to pass. So for those that passed, congratulations. Those that have to recite exams, at least there is light at the end of the tunnel. But now for those that failed, it means that you have to do those 9 grievous or gruesome months. Well, once again,
we wish you all the best upon that particular continuation of the further assessments, if I'm to put it in that way. But besides that, let's look into what we've gathered for you from the local scene here on Good Morning Uganda.
And I'll begin with officials of the Electoral Commission being sworn in to serve Ugandans come 2026. Now, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Justice Simon Byabakama Mugenyi, assured Ugandans of the forthcoming general elections 2026 that they will be free and fair, despite facing financial constraints within the Commission. Justice Byabakama made this pledge while taking oath of office at the Judiciary Headquarters in Kampala. The swearing-in ceremony was officiated by the Chief Justice, Alfonso Winnie Doro, where other appointed commissioners of the Electoral Commission also took oath of office.
And moving on, Parliament has halted the processing of the Sugar Amendment Bill 2023 after the justifications for the amendments were not satisfactory. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Taiwa, stood over the second reading of the government bill, which sought to establish the Uganda Sugar Industry Stakeholder Council. The members of Parliament found no room to abandon the Uganda Sugar Board as provided in the Principal Act, where government has failed to finance for the last 2 years of the law. Taiwa wants the Attorney General to respond accordingly.
And moving on, in a significant rebranding effort, the MK movement has been officially launched as the Patriotic League of Uganda, PLU, positioning itself as a formidable civic organization dedicated to fostering a spirit of good citizenship, national pride and service. The announcement has been made at the MK Movement offices in Naguru, with Captain Mike Mukula presiding over the event as the chief guest.
More in our news, Minister of Public Services spearheading the establishment and operation of one-stop centers in cadastral zones, codenamed Service Uganda centers with integrated service delivery system that facilitates ease of accessing critical public service under one roof and bringing service closer to citizens. Joseph Tejeza Kachitero, Commissioner Policy and Planning at the Ministry of Public Service, reiterated the need of these centers. They will integrate and interlink government infrastructure for public service and promote collaborative efforts in service delivery. Well, that wraps up our local news.
Well, away from the local scene, we head to the international scene to see what is making headlines away from Uganda.
Away from Uganda, Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected Hamas's proposed ceasefire terms, saying total victory in Gaza is possible within months. He was speaking after Hamas laid out a series of demands in response to an Israel-backed ceasefire proposal. Mr. Netanyahu said negotiations with the group were not going anywhere and described their terms as bizarre. Talks are continuing to try to reach some sort of deal. There is no other solution but a complete final victory, Mr. Netanyahu told a news conference on Wednesday. If Hamas will survive in Gaza, it's only a question of time until the next massacre. Israel was expected to take issues Israel was expected to take issues with Hamas's counteroffer, but this response is a categorical rebuke, and Israeli forces clearly see an effort by Hamas to end the war on its terms as utterly unacceptable. Senior Hamas official Sami Abu Zuri told the Reuters news agency that Mr. Netanyahu's remarks are a form of political bravado and show he intends to pursue the conflict in the region. And away from that, Pakistan elections, polls open at 8 a.m. and will close 5 p.m. Polling may be extended in some areas as per Election Commission's rules. Voters will cast their ballots for 2 legislators to represent their constituency, one federally and the other provincially. There are 5,121 candidates contesting for the federal legislature and 12,695 for the provinces. A major crackdown on the biggest opposition party and its leader, former Prime Minister Imran Khan, has fueled concerns that the polls will not be free and fair. At least 24 people in 2 attacks on candidates' political offices in Balochistan province yesterday were killed. Away from that, Madagascar should abolish a new law which allows for the chemical and surgical castration of people convicted of raping minors, as it was cruel, inhuman and degrading, rights group Amnesty International has said. Last month, President Andre proposed the amendments to the penal code that include chemical and surgical castration as punishment for the individuals found guilty of rape against minors. These changes have since been agreed by members of parliament. In a statement, Tigere Amnesty's regional director for East and Southern Africa said, quote, "In Madagascar, rape cases remain underreported and perpetrators often go free due to the victims and their families' fear of retaliation, stigmatization, and a lack of trust in the judicial system. In Madagascar, rape cases remain underreported and perpetrators often go free due to the fear in their families and the retaliation and stigmatization and lack of trust in the judicial system." Now, speaking matters climate, the European Commission has recommended that the European Union slash net greenhouse gas emissions by 90% by 2040, an ambitious target that will test political appetite for the region's fight against climate change before European Union elections. While the overall target was within the range recommended by the European Union's official climate science advisors, the EU executive weakened part of the recommendation concerning agriculture in response to weeks of protests by farmers angry about European Union green rules, among other complaints. The previous draft of the EU target, seen by the Reuters news agency, has said agriculture would need to cut non-carbon dioxide emissions 30% by 2040 from 2015 levels to comply with the overall climate goal. That was removed from the final draft. We need to make sure we have a balanced approach, European Commissioner told the European Parliament as he unveiled the proposal on Tuesday. The vast majority of our citizens see the effect of climate change, does want protection, but their livelihoods. That is it for climate news and what is happening across some parts of the world.
We now get into the press review to see what is making headlines at the front of the papers. The New Vision with the headline, What MK Movement Rebranding Means. The scores of ministers, members of parliament attend the launch of Patriotic League of Uganda. That and more is with the New Vision today. Sebutinde elected first ICJ African woman vice president. Read about her. Then in the series of the New Vision, facing sexual abuse at Mulago Hospital. The investigation does continue. Then pictorial as President Museveni welcomes American producer to film Uganda's tourism. Then harvest money nods to show opportunities for farmers. Read about that in today's New Vision. You can also read about a report in regards to drugs, new law tough on medics and farmers. That is with the New Vision. Now, furthermore, the Daily Monitor, the 7 deadly causes of cancer. Some of the highlights in here with the Daily Monitor: there is unhealthy diet, alcoholic consumption, among others, as a number of 21,829 is some of the recorded death within the country. Then the Congo unrest, hundreds flee eastern DRC as M23 and government forces clash. A pictorial of many fleeing eastern DRC. Then DM today, couples share their plans for Valentine's Day. Read about that and you can also plan accordingly. Don't blame us for high fees, says private schools. A report with the Daily Monitor. Now, lawyers to boycott new lawyer to do over judicial freedom. That is with the Daily Monitor. Now, pressure group in Muhoozi name sends mixed signals. That is with the Daily Monitor. Now, crossing the borders to Kenya, states East citizen school fees blow as government also fighting in courts to salvage housing and health levies. That is the headline with the Daily Nation. The favored and the forgotten. A number of times ministers have visited a region. You can read about that, a breakdown of the times these see that the Rift Valley in Kenya has got more of the visits. Rather, Nairobi has got more visits, followed by the Rift Valley region and the coast of Kenya. Then besides that, hard times, half of Kenyans in debt crisis without a pay rise in 5 years. An interesting report in the Daily Nation. Now, Killer Brew, Kirinyanga toxic drink, death toll rises to 10. More of the reasons as to why you should quit alcohol. Now, Labor of Love, mother who carries disabled son to studio. Read about that in today's Daily Nation. Lastly, the Citizen newspaper from Tanzania, Indian billionaire expands Dar port interests with TICTS, the Indian firm that is headed by Andani, of the Andani International Port Holdings Pte Limited. That is Gautam Andani is expanding its business interests in Dar es Salaam port by acquiring Tanzania's International Container Terminal Services Limited. Then 7 people blind in Zanzibar after using local red eyes remedies. Oh wow. Then in The Rising Woman, Lillian from housemaid to leading tour company. Read about that inspirational report. As why Tanzania should invest in women-led businesses. that is with the Citizen. Also, Msimbazi flyover contractor to be revealed soon. So that is something that you can easily get from the Daily Nation, Citizen, and the Daily Monitor in Uganda. Plus, of course, the New Vision. Well, it being a Throwback Thursday, today's inspiration song is coming in from Dr. Jose Chameleon, and this one is Happy People. Enjoy this one, but as we return at the top of the hour, we shall be having a conversation, a discussion, looking into the fact that over 20 members of parliament are likely to lose their seats if at all a ruling goes against them. More of that discussion is coming up. The members of parliament we're talking about here are female representatives in municipalities and various cities in the country. A bigger discussion coming up, but first, enjoy this song coming in from Jose Chameleon. It is Thursday. Good morning.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you very much.
FDC, you're fronting their daughter. When Ken Luchamus left parliament,
He fronted
Luchamus
that daughter.
fronted their daughter. When Jacob Bolanya died, the
fronted
son
the
came
son.
to parliament. When Sena Nabanda, you know, this has been everywhere. Why not for Muhoozi if he feels he wants this, and Ugandans are the ones to decide? This double standard.
No.
Anyone who dies in the near future,
Yes.
if they have a son, they'll still say, let the son come. You know, let the daughter come.
So we cannot
Why are
be
we
the same
so-
people who say that
Yes, really.
let the son or the daughter step into the shoes of the deceased parent, but then when it comes to the presidency, then all of us do not want it. If we do not want it, if we don't want
Precedent
children
has been set
to
already.
replace their parents, then we should actually start from LCs, constituencies, members of parliament. We should shun it all across the board. But we cannot say that it is good here. No, what is good for the goose should be good for the gander.
And in law, a judge can look at precedent to give a ruling.
Exactly. But Jerome Paul, good morning to you once again and our viewers. And you mentioned something to do with LDC students graduating.
The bar course.
Yes, they graduated and actually not graduated, they passed.
Yes.
There's not all of them though, because according to reports, over 701 passed. There were 2,087, 701 passed. 894 are required to receipt supplementary exams, and 492 completely failed the bar exams. Now, in as much as 492 failed, I still think that this is quite a very huge improvement compared to the results that came out in 2021, where 90% of low LDC students failed. Over 1,500 students failed.
Many attributed
So-
that to COVID.
I don't know if it was about COVID, but what I remember is that the LDC said, you know, lately they removed the pre-entry exams to start studying the bar. And the LDC said that because of that, now you don't know the quality of students that you are enrolling. And because of that, we see that many students are failing the bar exam. Now, anyone who knows the law, whether here in Uganda or across the world, the bar exam is the hardest exam to pass. So for those that passed, congratulations. Those that have to recite exams, at least there is light at the end of the tunnel. But now for those that failed, it means that you have to do those 9 grievous or gruesome months once again.
Wish you all the best upon that particular continuation of the further assessments, if I'm to put it in that way. But besides that, let's look into what we've gathered for you from the local scene here on Good Morning Uganda.
And I'll begin with officials of the Electoral Commission being sworn in to serve Ugandans come 2026. Now, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Justice Simon Byabakama Mugenyi, assured Ugandans of the forthcoming general elections 2026 that they will be free and fair, despite facing financial constraints within the commission. Justice Byabakama made this pledge while taking oath of office at the judiciary headquarters in Kampala. The swearing-in ceremony was officiated by the Chief Justice, Alfonso Winnie Doro, where other appointed commissioners of the Electoral Commission also took oath of office.
And moving on, Parliament has halted the processing of the Sugar Amendment Bill 2023 after the justifications for the amendments were not satisfactory. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Taiwa, stood over the second reading of the government bill, which sought to establish the Uganda Sugar Industry Stakeholder Council. The members of Parliament found no room to abandon the Uganda Sugar Board as provided in the Principal Act, where government has failed to finance for the last 2 years of the law. Taiwa wants the Attorney General to respond accordingly.
And moving on, in a significant rebranding effort, the MK movement has been officially launched as the Patriotic League of Uganda, PLU, positioning itself as a formidable civic organization dedicated to fostering a spirit of good citizenship, national pride and service. The announcement has been made at the MK movement offices in Naguru, with Captain Mike Mukula presiding over the event as the chief guest.
More in our news, Minister of Public Service is spearheading the establishment and operation of one-stop centers in cadastral zones, codenamed Service Uganda centers, with integrated service delivery system that facilitates ease of accessing critical public service under one roof and bringing service closer to citizens. Joseph Tejeza Kachitero, Commissioner Policy and Planning at the Ministry of Public Service, reiterated the need of these centers. They will integrate and interlink government infrastructure for public service and promote collaborative efforts in service delivery. Well, that wraps up our local news.
Well, away from the local scene, we head to the international scene to see what is making headlines away from Uganda.
Away from Uganda, Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected Hamas's proposed ceasefire terms, saying total victory in Gaza is possible within months. He was speaking after Hamas laid out a series of demands in response to an Israel-backed ceasefire proposal. Mr. Netanyahu said negotiations with the group were not going anywhere and described their terms as bizarre. Talks are continuing to try to reach some sort of deal. There is no other solution but a complete final victory, Mr. Netanyahu told a news conference on Wednesday. If Hamas will survive in Gaza, it's only a question of time until the next massacre. Israel was expected to take issues Israel was expected to take issues with Hamas's counteroffer, but this response is a categorical rebuke, and Israeli forces clearly see an effort by Hamas to end the war on its terms as utterly unacceptable. Senior Hamas official Sami Abu Zuri told the Reuters news agency that Mr. Netanyahu's remarks are a form of political bravado and show he intends to pursue the conflict in the region. And away from that, Pakistan elections, polls open at 8 a.m. and will close 5 p.m. Polling may be extended in some areas as per Election Commission's rules. Voters will cast their ballots for 2 legislators to represent their constituency, one federally and the other provincially. There are 5,121 candidates contesting for the federal legislature and 12,695 for the provinces. A major crackdown on the biggest opposition party and its leader, former Prime Minister Imran Khan, has fueled concerns that the polls will not be free and fair. At least 24 people in 2 attacks on candidates' political offices in Balochistan province yesterday were killed. Away from that, Madagascar should abolish a new law which allows for the chemical and surgical castration of people convicted of raping minors, as it was cruel, inhuman and degrading, rights group Amnesty International has said. Last month, President Andre proposed the amendments to the penal code that include chemical and surgical castration as punishment for the individuals found guilty of rape against minors. These changes have since been agreed by members of parliament. In a statement, Tigere Amnesty's regional director for East and Southern Africa said court. In Madagascar,
And as law sector.
Actually, I'll be frank with you, Mr. Msongo, it means absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Because this is how the bar has always been. Actually, for me, this is not even news. It shouldn't make news anywhere, because this is how the bar has always been.
Okay.
From time immemorial, the pass rate at for the bar course has been on the average 30%. Sometimes goes to 40, 50, but on the average 30% at the first try. And let me also emphasize to people, the bar course anywhere in the world is difficult to pass. Go to America, go to Britain, go to wherever it is, anywhere there's a bar course, and especially for the Americans, it's a huge disaster. Huge disaster. You can Google it, and you'll see bar course anywhere in the world where you find it is hard to pass. So for me, this should not be anything new. What I would like to say is that for the young lawyers who are facing the trauma of getting retakes at the bar course for the bar course, or facing dismissal or discontinuation at LDC, take heart. I mean, people have gone through this and come out of it. It's a usual thing. I'm not saying it's normal. I'm saying it's a usual thing. It's not new. So the young lawyers should be strong. They should take heart. Go back and do your papers. Go back and do your papers. We've all gone through this whole mess and come out of it. So the bar course will always be sticky. And by the way, it doesn't mean you're a bad lawyer.
Okay.
No, it just means that the bar course is you're on slippery ground. And sometimes the difference between passing and failure is just 1 mark, 2 marks. So you'll see, because the pass mark is 50. So when I see people, in university, in undergraduate, saying, I was supposed to get 80 in this paper, and they undermarked me, I have 78, and he's crying, I tell them, don't worry, wait until you get the bar course, then you'll struggle, you'll see how difficult it is to get 50. 50. By the time the examiner gives you 50, you really are somewhere there. So these young people should take heart, be strong, see where they went wrong, go back and use this time for revision, talk to practicing lawyers. They can take you through where you went wrong, and then go back and do your retakes. If you've been discontinued, don't worry. In August, they're taking up, there's another intake. Apply, go back there and do it.
Okay. And of course, words of encouragement coming in from Council here. Well, Council, let's get into our topic of discussion this morning. My viewer and I myself would wish to know what are the specific constitutional violations that are alleged against the cities and municipalities represented by the women members of parliament that we have in question here.
Okay, first, I want to advise that we cannot go into too much detail in this matter, because we have put it before the court, and would like to give the learned justices of the Constitutional Court latitude, free way to make that decision. And especially since I'm the lead lawyer in the petition, if we go on discussing every small detail, then there's a danger they'll say, but you've watered down everything. So would like, at this time, it's not yet under judicial consideration, but still out of respect for the court and for the other side, I think we can only touch we can touch the periphery without going to details, because then it would be a little irregular, even if not illegal. But what I can say is that, first of all, broadly speaking, Uganda is still a young democracy. The constitution is only about 1995, this is 2004. It's just coming to about, to 30 years. Next year it will be coming to 30 years. So that is still, 30 years in the life of somebody, that's a long time. But 30 years in the life of a nation is absolutely nothing. So we're still a young country. We're still a young democracy. I don't think we're a democracy yet. We're aspiring to be a democracy. And now, because of that, mistakes are going to be made in many areas. Oversights will be there. The absence of checks and balances will be there and will cause problems for the government. And also the the inability to pay attention to detail in the constitution will be there. So it's still a young democracy. It is still, the constitution is still young. We're just getting to it. I mean, the American constitution is over 200 years old. The British constitutional dispensation is much longer than that, even though they don't have a written constitution. So this is a young democracy. Mistakes are going to be made. Let's first accept that. So you'll find that issues like this will keep coming up, that the government did this or parliament did that, and it is unconstitutional. We should expect that for now, because we're still testing the waters. We're still testing the waters. And I think also a lot of the time, the superstructure, the political superstructure under which we operate is such that there is a tendency for people to pursue big government in the sense of they're constantly trying to create more constituencies. They're constantly trying to stay longer in power. The tendency for those at the top is, we need to stay here longer. If you want to join us, we can create room for you. We can make another constituency for you here. You guys can also get one there. Don't shake the table too much. It has expensive drinks on it, like they say. What we can do, we can arrange something for you as well. Now, that's the problem we're facing. And that's where you're having a proliferation of constituencies, even when they're not in accordance or in tandem with the Constitution. So this should be expected. So the petition, if I can just touch the periphery, has about 3 pillars.
Okay.
Number one, we are raising fundamental questions about the constitutionality of the cities having women representatives.
Okay.
Yes, because, and the issue is simple. Under affirmative action in the Constitution, the ground norm says you can have a woman representative for every district.
Yes.
That's okay. And we're saying, where does it say you can have a woman representative for a city?
Nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, so it's really as simple as that. So where do you get? So everything that you do as a government, and it has a charge on the consolidated fund, which is the national treasury. Everything you do as a government, and it has to do with the exercising of power, must be questioned or calibrated against the Constitution. And we say, where do you get this authority? Who tells you you can do this? So all we're saying is, where does it say in the Constitution that you can have a woman MP for a city? And for our hypothesis for now is that the Constitution does not say so.
Okay.
Now, pillar number 2 concerns the municipalities. Our contention is actually very basic. We're saying the Local Government Act, the Constitution, the Parliamentary Elections Act, when read together, you'll come to the conclusion, or any reasonable person in the ordinary course of thinking, ought to come to the conclusion that a municipality is simply an administrative unit under the local government structures. Now, when you get a local government structure and you allocate an MP, a member of parliament, to it, again, we want to question, where do you get your authority? Because yes, because these are the implications. You're creating a new member of parliament. It has implications for the way power is organized, the way government is organized, the way the resources are allocated. We are giving this person maybe 30 million every month. We're going to give them 200 million for a car. We're going to give them this and that all the time. This has budgetary implications. It's a charge on the consolidated fund, and therefore, as citizens, we must question the propriety of this particular decision.
Okay.
So we're saying this does not seem to be in tandem with the Constitution. It must be challenged.
Okay.
Now, the third pillar of the petition is also a simple mathematical endeavor. We're saying there's something we call the population census, supposed to be done every 10 years.
We actually have one this year.
Yeah, there's one this year. I wasn't counted last time. I don't think I'll be counted this time still.
You aren't in the country?
Officially, I don't exist in this country. Yeah, because I wasn't counted. So officially, the government doesn't spend on me. So every 10 years you're supposed to have a census.
True.
Now the census, therefore, will tell us how many people are in the country. Now, if you talk about representation of the people, which is covered under Chapter 5 of the Constitution, then the representation must have some formula to it. And say, okay, suppose we find out that the number of people in Uganda has gone down. We were 40 million last time. We are now 30 million. Under the Constitution, it means there really ought to be a downward revision of political constituencies, because the numbers have gone down, and therefore the need for representation, the MP the quota of MP, member of parliament, per so many people needs to go down as well. So you have to lower the constituencies. But again, if we find that there has been an upward mobility in the population, it means that again we must revise the number of constituencies upwardly. It means that there are now more people, so
that is more expenses, more.
Yes.
Again, a burden to our expenditure.
Yes,
as a
but
country.
there will be a justification, because then you have more people. It means if I was an MP for Kampala, and Kampala had 1 million people, then we find Kampala has 4 million people. Ideally, under the Constitution, there must be an upward revision of the constituencies, because then you have too many people that you're representing. You can't possibly and suitably represent all of them.
Council,
we need another member of parliament.
Council, just a quick one. When you look at the fact that you've mentioned we are a young democracy as a nation, looking further in the long term, do we have other discussions of the same to see that we have reforms in the electoral system so that we do not have these kind of issues recurring here and there?
Now, if you look closely at the last, actually every presidential election petition we have had, the court has, I think there's been a consistency that each time the Supreme Court has sat, and by the way, that's the only time the Supreme Court sits as a court of first instance, because all the other times it's a court of appeal. But when it comes to the presidential election petition, it sits as the court of first instance, first and final instance. That's where you start, that's where you stop. But each time they have sat, they have said there's a problem with our electoral processes, there's a problem with our democratic setup, certain reforms have to be made. Every petition has said that. And they have actually, as a matter of fact, always outlined those proposals, say, we direct you, do this, do this, do this, so that you don't have to come back here. There's no law that says that every time we have a general election, there must be a presidential election petition. No. The judges are saying, to avoid coming back here, please do ABC. Now, there has been very low response on the part of government in that regard. They have not been able to follow up. They've not been, not able, but they've not been interested in following up, because following up on those reforms means that certain big people in high places are going to lose out. So it is in their interest, therefore, to keep things the way they are. So that's the challenge that we are facing as a country.
Well, and then do we have some of the precedents of members of parliament losing their seats for similar constitutional reasons in the past?
They have been there. They have been there. If you recall, I think Mr. Asuman Basalirwa, there was a case that was filed by Honorable Kwizera. Kwizera is an MP, fairly troublesome. He's very spirited. He's always causing trouble for people everywhere. I mean, he's energetic. He's always thinking on his feet. So he did file a petition at the time. I think that, I don't recall the particulars of that petition, but it did touch the formation of constituencies at that time. And there was an order of court to quash the elections of those MPs, and then there was an appeal. Now, again, the problem is that every time there is such because that goes to the Constitutional Court. Every time there is such a political decision, every time there's such a decision affecting politicians in high places, then of course they run to court very quickly. They get a stay of execution, if you like, an injunction against the orders of the lower court, and then they hope that as time will run, and by the time the Supreme Court ever gets down to say, now let's look at your case. There's another election, they've run their term in Parliament, and it's really basically overtaken by events. So that's the problem that we have, because our our judiciary still is small in the sense, let me look at the bench, the judges, and the registrars and the magistrates. Their core is still small. We still need more judicial officers so that the courts can be able to handle cases as they fall before them, because there's so much backlog and there's a policy of first in, first out, unless there is something really urgent that the courts say, let us attend to this matter very fast. Like we saw last year, the Anti-Homosexuality Act being challenged in the Constitutional Court. But that was an exception to the general rule, because the rule up there is first in, first out. If you came with a petition today, why should we listen to you when there's a petition which was filed in 2012 and it's never been heard?
Okay. Do you also intend to have the Uganda's electoral body prohibited from conducting these elections henceforth?
That is a natural consequence of a good petition outcome. If we're saying that their existence is illegal,
then that means 2026.
Then that means that in the next election, the commission, which is the second respondent in this matter, should not hold elections for them. So it's really a natural. It's a natural consequence. Even if we didn't add it on the petition, in the pleadings in the petition, the petition is the pleading. Even if we didn't add it in the petition per se and plead it specifically, the court would actually be on its own motion just say, look, you can't have an election because this thing doesn't exist at law.
Well, Council, also, let's go political a little bit here. What implications?
We have been political from the word go.
Okay, let's go rather deeper in the politics here. What implication does this have to the constituents here, the constituents who have been represented by these members of parliament just recently here? Where does this leave them, just in case the ruling goes against their representatives?
Actually, one of the problems we have as a country is that we are overrepresented.
Okay.
We have too many members of parliament for a small country. If you look at the statistics from other countries which have a bigger population, they have far smaller parliaments. I think the problem in Uganda is that I think the NRM, the ruling party, the president, Mr. Yoweri Museveni, because of their long stay in power, have always used the creation of constituencies as a kind of a compromise, political compromise. If you're making too much noise, they can always pull you aside and say, "You, what's your problem?" Yeah, you people, what? No. We can get something for you. We can create something for you, and they'll a high voltage call can be made and say, go and do this, do that, and it will just go down like that, and then they'll create a constituency for Mr. Msongo, just like that. And I think we have constituencies which have been created for people as people, and you say this one was made for so and so. Now that is wrong in democracy. It is called gerrymandering.
Okay.
Yeah, and it should be discouraged. But we're saying that this is what has been happening. So we have so many MPs that we don't need. Okay. I think we, as a country that is still poor, we need less MPs who are effectively representing us, who make the right judgment calls in Parliament, and then we can progress as a country.
Okay. And to the dear viewers out there, if I'm to put you into proper context further in relation to the affected members of Parliament, you get to realize that most of these include 10 women representatives of the newly created cities in Parliament and 12 municipal members of Parliament. And among the affected members of Parliament, or who are likely to be affected by this, would be Honorable Betty Namboze Bachireke, Mukono Municipality. There's Also, Honorable Rita Atukwasa, Mbarara City, woman member, and then Mosoke Wakaima of Nansana Municipality, among some of the key, or what you could call some of the dominant names in Parliament as of now from the political sphere. Well, our conversation does continue as well. Be part of this still using the hashtag UBCGMU on the X app and give us your views and opinions on the same matter. But well, Council, one would wonder, what role do legal experts and constitutional scholars play in shaping this discourse around this entire controversy?
I think in times like this, there must be, we need to, those who are in the know, people who are educated, who are experts in these matters, need to come out to give commentary, to offer guidance. I think, you see, the people, the Bible tells us that the lips of the priest should speak knowledge. That if somebody is a priest, then they should be knowledgeable, they should offer guidance and leadership. And if I'm to apply that to political context, those who are educated, those who are experts in various fields like these should come out and give due commentary, offer guidance to the nation, to the leaders, offer guidance even to the courts. I would expect that in cases like this, then people can apply to the court to come in as friends of court, okay, so that they can give opinions that the court can rely on to make a good decision. I always say that nobody has a monopoly of knowledge. Nobody has a monopoly of the facts. I think there are people out there who know so much, but they don't have a chance or platform to air their views, to offer, to share their knowledge. So I think in times like this, we need to hear from more people. Let more voices come up on these matters. We need Uganda to grow as a democracy. We need to be to have a government that is efficient. Efficient in the sense of using less to do more. Okay. You have fewer MPs doing more work. But right now you have 500 and I think about 540 or 550 MPs. I mean, it's a crazy number. 529 was last year. I think they're more now. Now that's a crazy number. But how many of them are actually active? About 50 MPs are all that's active. So this parliament, if it had 50 MPs, good MPs, would still have the same output as they have today. So it means a tenth of this parliament can actually do the job. Okay. So even without, I mean, that would be maybe exaggerating, but on the whole, reduce the numbers of people in parliament. Let us have a leaner government. Let us instead focus on having a bustling private sector, because that is how economies grow. When the private sector is big, it's bright, it's people are creating, they're innovating, they are creating wealth and making money. That is how countries grow. But when you have more politicians than people in the private sector, yes, 557. That's crazy. If we had a bigger, you see, what we're having now is big government. If we had a big private sector, believe you me, there would be more money to go around because we are busy creating wealth. But now we're busy consuming wealth. So what big government does not add value to the country, it usually negates the value because you are spending more, you're thinking less. So we have disguised unemployment in parliament. Members of parliament who are there and they're doing nothing. They come, sign in, sit down, do nothing, or go out and go shopping. They get free money and they're not adding value to the economy. That needs to be reviewed for us as a country.
Well, Council, if you are a member of parliament in such a situation, how would you engage the public that you're representing in regards to putting them in the same bracket with what is happening? Because now, to us, some of the viewers, we get confused at times when such news hits the media platforms.
I think what Parliament should be more concerned about this time is, because what we're raising is a rule of law issue. Okay. We're saying this is what the Constitution says, and this is what you guys are doing, and you're out of sync with the Constitution. So we're saying, can you synchronize? Can you? We're asking for synchronization. So these are rule of law issues. Members of Parliament should be lending us a hand in causing this country to move towards the rule of law. When there's rule of law, a country will last a long, long time till the Lord Jesus comes back. Okay. When there's no rule of law, then countries collapse. We have seen it in Congo. We've seen it in Somalia. We've seen it in Central African Republic. We've seen it in, from time to time in Egypt. We've seen it in so many places. Burundi here. I mean, these are rule of law issues. When you compromise the rule of law, the country will collapse, because then you have just a few individuals, a small predatory elite who make all the decisions, eat all the money at the expense of everybody else. You have a shaky house. It's going to collapse at any time. It's not sustainable. So you want a house where everybody is happy to be there and everybody feels part of the country. Everybody feels, yes, this is our home. We're happy. We're all working. We're all benefiting. Then you'll last a long time. Well,
Council, lastly, what steps are being taken to ensure a fair and transparent process if there is a ruling that these members of parliament are to be removed from their constituents that they are representing?
Well, right now the judges are in conference, I think ending tomorrow. So when they come back next week in court, they will sign the pleadings we filed, and then we shall serve the Attorney General, we shall serve the Electoral Commission, and then they will be calling us for the call conferencing to see what are the issues in this petition, and then we shall be given guidance on how to argue the case, whether orally or we do written submissions, and then thereafter we shall have a decision made, and then whatever it is, I know the court, the government will respect that decision. If these are scenarios, if they say, yes, the petitions are right, you guys should go home, I can guarantee you these guys will be running to the Supreme Court to appeal immediately. Like even before the court has left their seats, they'll be drafting appeals, and then they'll be also applying for stay of execution. We need time until the appeal is disposed of. So if we win this case, then I can guarantee you there'll be Supreme Court on appeal. And then we wait for the decision of the Supreme Court, from which, of course, there is no appeal.
Well, and of course, very many thanks for joining us this morning, Council.
Pleasure always.
All right. And there you have it, Council Gawaya Tegule, who has been with us this morning to discuss more of this issue to do with the constitutional petition, which is likely to see 10 women representatives of the newly created Citizen Parliament and 12 municipal members of Parliament still women representatives who are bound to lose their seats. That is, if the Constitutional Court rules that the cities and these municipalities that they are representing are unconstitutional. How will that affect you as a viewer is what we expect to have in regards to your opinion and views. That is on the ongoing conversations online. Well, stick around to Good Morning Uganda. As of now, we head into a break, but coming up shortly is the Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express. Later on, the business update and the traffic updates. Good morning, and you're watching UBC.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services to citizens through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective implementation. A transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and propelling infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming soon on your public broadcaster, The Front Bench, your interface with the government every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with Joram Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV Channel 371, Star Times Channel 201, Zuku TV Channel 20, and Azam TV Channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Actually sponsored by. Today we came to visit a very natural place. It's a pleasure to know that you are watching UBC TV. This is the GMTV Express, and today I'm on a trip in Nyamba Island, Chimpanzee Sanctuary. The trip was actually sponsored by Uganda and Cooperative. So today we came to visit a very natural place. I told you, a place that merges education, conservation, and leisure. This is the place, and it is called Nyamba Chimpanzee Sanctuary. We are going to explore so many things, like the birds. The sounds of the birds are amazing. The sounds of the chimps. It is a lot here that you will connect to nature in so many ways. Let's do this. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV, and this is the time when we take you around Uganda. We thank you, and we are pleasure to know that you allow us to take you around the Pearl of Africa. Today we are at Nyamba Island. It is the only chimpanzee sanctuary that we have in the country. It is a home to 53 chimps, and these chimps are orphaned chimps. Others are just rescued chimps from different, maybe civil wars. Others are gotten from maybe wildlife trading, and they are brought here and given a new hope and they are given new lives from the sad stories that they had. It is amazing that we are very close to the chimps. Like you can see, it's just like 10 meters away from me. They're just very close to us. I don't know whether you've had this experience, because just being so close to the chimps, realizing the small or the slightest differences that we have, it is just amazing, because chimps are just like us, sharing the 98.7 DNA just makes them us. That is, maybe the difference is about like 1.3, but you realize that they have emotions. They are wise enough to do different tricks. I've fed the chimps. I've given them oranges. I've given them cassavas. It is something that I cannot forget. And then Nyamba Island, if you just want a place so natural, a place that has merged conservation, education, and leisure, this is a place that you should visit. So we joined the travel writers of 2023 of the Ugandan Covered Travel Writing Competition, and we are hosted by the Nyamba Chimpanzee Sanctuary Management to come here and have this beautiful experience.
Some are drinking water. Are we very fast? Genda. Look at what that chimpanzee is doing. We say chimpanzees do not know how to swim, but this guy is trying to pull themselves and communicate. Other side of the forest, other side of the island, and what chimpanzees are doing. The bottles you see around could be one of the tools chimpanzees use for drinking water. Look at Sophie wading herself in water, Natasha doing the same. So they can come to the beach to play around and cool themselves. Wow. Okay. Natasha. Mama, come on. Come on. Body. Here. Yeah, Sunday. Kalemba. Sally. Oh.
Salinga yesiri.
The best things in life are free, and one of them is nature. I'm glad to have participated in the Uganda Uncovered Story Writers Competition and being part of the winners. Here I am here at Namba Island. Thank you so much to the organizers. Today, I've seen how humans can communicate with these animals. Of course, they are us and we are them. They eat fruits like us. I've seen one take cassava like me, which is one of my favorites. And I've seen another taking an orange. Interesting. And thank you so much to the organizers for giving us such an opportunity to connect with nature. See you on the next episode. Here are the chimpanzees. They have walked all the way from inside the forest and they have come to the shores here to cool themselves. So we are giving our special guests an opportunity to also come to have an experience to see what the chimpanzees are doing. So in the wild, chimps have different activities like plucking leaves and eating them, climbing up, playing, drinking water. So you have seen some of them playing with water, getting water bottles and scooping water and drinking. Others are wading, but they are not very good at swimming, because their body is too heavy. They have very strong muscles. So when they go towards the deep water, they will just sink down. So they avoid going into the deep side in order to sink their body. So that's why they just come to the shores to cool themselves and play. And later they go back in the forest to do more foraging. So this forest has got so many varieties of trees. We have got fruiting trees, and main diet of chimpanzees in the wild is basically fruit. So they go and pluck the figs, they keep the other fruits from momam, but it's not enough to sufficiently make them live sustainably. So in places like this, we can come with some little food, make some calls to the chimpanzees, then they will run very fast because they know there are some potatoes, there are some oranges, there are some bananas in the caregiver's boat as well as the caregiver's food bucket. So they come and have some sweets here, and when the food is done, they go back to the forest. It's amazing to see how chimpanzees are organized. They are very good at keeping time. Here we don't call them, but everything is programmed in their mind. And they can track everything in that forest. It looks like they have got strong GPS. A human being can get lost in that forest, but no chimpanzee has ever got lost in that forest. So why don't you come and look at the beauty of Ngamba Island and see how Ngamba is interacting with nature.
So we joined the travel writers of 2023 of the Uganda Uncovered Travel Writing Competition, and we are hosted by the Ngamba Chimpanzee Sanctuary Management to come here and have this beautiful experience. Thank you so much for watching. Have a taste of what they've also felt at the island.
Good morning once again. Thank you for joining us. You are watching Good Morning Uganda Business Updates, and this very morning I'll be taking you through sitting in for Sonko. Now, commercial banks have been urged to design special interest rates for local investors to facilitate their bidding processes during public procurements. Now, this was said by the managing director of Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, that is Paul Mwesigwa, during the 2024 UEDCL Suppliers Forum, and reiterated on the challenges faced by Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy. The 2024 Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited Suppliers Conference centered on the recently passed PPDA Act in regulating local investors bidding for public projects. And government entities are accused of delaying payment to business companies upon delivery of contracted projects. And I believe, so if you have worked with government, you know what I'm talking about. PPDA cautions accounting officers over advertising projects before budget approvals. Another challenge that has to be addressed if some of the business members in the community have to survive. Then Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited confirms their collaboration with local investors in the process of power distribution, especially on those supplies produced locally. However, local suppliers are challenged with a limited capital to match the capital-intensive government projects. UEDCL urges commercial banks to design favorable packages for local investors in support of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy. And still, the 2024 UEDCL Suppliers Conference targets pre-qualified suppliers and potential suppliers under the theme Supply Chain for Sustainability. Now, if you are someone that would love to work with government, this is about the time that you started your pre-qualification process. For some, they've actually already started, so you reach out, especially the different papers usually have those who are looking to pre-qualify or who are looking for suppliers, and you can go ahead and apply. You just might never know. Now, away from that, Parliament has halted the processing of the Sugar Amendment Bill 2023 after the jurisdiction of the amendments were not satisfactory. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, that is Right Honourable Thomas Tayewa, stood over the second reading of the government bill, which sought to establish the Uganda Sugar Industry Stakeholder Council. The members of Parliament found no room to abandon the Uganda Sugar Board as provided in the Principal Act, where government has failed to finance for the last 2 years of the law. Tayewa wants the Attorney General to respond accordingly, and since its enactment, the Sugar Act 2020 has never been implemented, and government through the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperative says there are no funds to aid the implementation of this very act. Now, to address the challenge, government through the Sugar Amendment Bill 2023 seeks to introduce a third party under the Uganda Sugar Industry Stakeholder Council to replace Uganda Sugar Board, which has no room in the consolidated fund. And the Parliamentary Committee on Trade and Tourism, led by Chairperson Mwine Mpaka, introduced the bill for the second reading, which ended prematurely. The majority of the members of Parliament failed to resonate with the justifications of government to abandon its responsibility as provided in the Principal Act, deciding to phase out the Uganda Sugar Board even before its existence. Minister of State for Industry David Bahati tried to interest the members on the difference between the board and the council, but all in vain. And the MPs also questioned how the proposed private entity will contribute to the revenue to the consolidated fund, questioning how the government will control and influence on the intended private entity. And the Deputy Speaker, that is the Right Honourable Thomas Tayewa, who had started chairing the Bills Committee, stage ruled to stay the Sugar Amendment Bill 2023 to allow the Attorney General to guide the House on the way forward. And the Sugar Act 2020 provides provides a formula to determine the price of sugarcane sold to millers, but the bill seeks to amend the formula in accordance with international norms. And lastly, with a business update, Private Sector Foundation has officially endorsed ICRA as a credible and locally based credit rating company that its members can associate with. Now, this was witnessed at an MOU signing between the two entities at the Private Sector Foundation headquarters in Nakasero, Kampala. Now, ICRA becomes the first international but locally based credit rating company operating in Uganda and operating in Uganda, overseen by the central bank. And credit rating agencies assess the financial strength of companies seeking investment by analyzing their finances and how lucrative the industry it operates in is. ICRA has also joined Private Sector Foundation membership with hope to leverage networks of all institutions that need their services. And Private Sector Foundation encompasses over 320 business associations in manufacturing, agriculture, ICT, and financial sectors. This partnership opens doors for the thousands of businesses undergoing debt issuance to know their credit rating, thereby enabling access to faster credit. Well, this is news for every businessman that is, at one point, we all need to seek some credit. And then this is where you need to know who to go to and at what point do you get to them. Well, that is it for business updates, but let's check how we are trading this very morning. But as of course, the markets are not yet open because of the time differences. So let's check by closure of business yesterday. The US dollar was selling at by closing was selling at 3,824. That is buying, and selling at 3,834. And then the Great Britain pound closing at 4,820, selling at 4,833. And the euro selling at 4,150, buying at 4,115, selling at 4,125. The Kenya shilling closing at 23.83 and selling at 23.89. The Tanzanian shilling buying at 1.50 and selling at 1.50 still shillings. And we talk about the South African rand buying at 202.66 and selling at 203.19. That is as of closure of business yesterday, and that is where we are standing. And that does it for our business update this morning. Coming up is the traffic updates with Olive Monica Najuma.
Well, a beautiful morning. Thank you for sticking with us here on Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica and Najima here to take you through the traffic updates. But before we delve into those, Chantal, good morning.
Good morning, Olive.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Now, the reason why I insisted that you stay here with me for a moment, during the Non-Aligned Movement Summit,
right,
you used to traverse the route that goes to Muyenga, Munyonyo, that side.
I see.
So I would like to know, because you had a few complaints back then, and I understand over the weekend they were marking part of Nsambia Road. I don't know if you were able to go there around the time, but how does the road look like right now?
Actually, for the past 2 days, I've been crossing over to Entebbe side because of work, and we are okay. initially the issue, of course, was that there were roadworks happening in the shortest time possible,
Yes.
and the diversions that were not not communicated properly prior to that.
Even
and all
yesterday
that.
there was a diversion in Zambia. The Zambia road was
Yes.
cut off.
Yes.
And do you know why?
No. This time around, I did not use Nansambia Road, so I
Oh,
may not
okay.
be in position to know. But, well, after clearing, you know, when people are not working and the diversions are not there, the roads actually look good.
Okay, thank you, Chantal. And of course, for you, our viewer, if Chantal says the road looks good, then I will believe that the road looks good. Well, Kampala Capital City Authority did so much work to ensure that we at least get rid of the potholes that had become a menace in our country. And of course, many roads were fixed right before we had the summits. And those are the trickling effects that we got from these summits, that at the end of the day, at least we're able to walk away with better infrastructure than before in some areas. Well, like I said, we will be going through the traffic updates for this morning, and we are starting from the area that is Nakauka. See how you get through the areas of Natete, Rubaga, and on upwards into town. Now, starting along Nakauka Road, where it joins Old Massacre Road, we see that at least at this juncture, there is still smooth flow of traffic. And going ahead, we see that there is a few orange zones starting to build up along Nakauka Road, and still continuing Nakauka Road, where now we transition into Natete and look at some of the roads in this environment. It is still clear, at least the junction where now Wakaliga Road connects to Natete. There is a bit of traffic jam coming through, but not intense. And following the Wakaliga Road, going ahead, we see that in some sections you will experience a delay due to traffic jam, but for the most part, for the longest stretch of Wakaliga Road, you will experience a smooth flow of traffic. And now going away from Wakaliga to look at some of the feeder roads in this area, we see that some of them are bringing in traffic jam feeding into Wakaliga Road. But for Wakaliga Road, the good news is that for the most part, there is smooth flow of traffic. Now, where Makamba Road connects to Wakaliga Road, there you might experience a delay. And of course, for those coming in from Makamba Road, there is a section that is entirely red. There you might be delayed because of a traffic jam that I see in this section where Makamba Road crosses through into Wakaliga Road. Going back to now where Wakaliga Road transitions into Albert Cook Road, there is a smooth flow of traffic in this area. Those coming through from Kalema Road, you will not find any encumbrances, as well as those that are coming through or going the side of Mutesa Wanu Road. There is a smooth flow of traffic. For the most part, Albert Cook Road is smooth this morning. Now let's look at the intersection that joins Canon Apollo Chivebulaya Road to Albert Cook Road. Now, for those coming to join Albert Cook Road, you will experience a delay in this section because I see an orange zone that has built up. But for those going the side of Canon Chivebulaya Road, you should be able to move without any inconvenience. Now, those coming through from Sentema Road, the only juncture where you're going to encounter traffic jam if you're coming from Sentema Road is just before you join Albert Cook Road. But for the longest stretch on Sentema Road, there is a smooth flow of traffic, at least as of this minute. Now going ahead, Kasaliana Road is feeding a bit of traffic into Albert Cook Road, and Chisingiri Road isn't bringing in any major traffic. So if that's where you're headed, maybe you want to use this route to go to the side of Kabaka and Jagala, you should be able to move without any encumbrances whatsoever. But the same is not for those that are coming through from Zake Road, as we see that Zake Road is actually bringing in traffic jam joining Albert Cook Road. The good news is that when you go back to Albert Cook Road, you should be able to move smoothly, because still, despite the traffic that is coming through from these other roads, Albert Cook Road still has smooth flow of traffic, so you won't be delayed. Now, other roads in the area, this place has so many roads. There is Willis Road and Chadondo Road and Albert Cook Road. Now, where they connect, you will experience a bit of a delay, but after that, all of these roads have smooth flow of traffic. But now, in some sections, as Albert Cook Road joins Hoima Road, this is around Bakuli. Here you might encounter a delay because I see some orange zones in this place, especially as Albert Cook Road now transitions into Namirembe Road. And looking at Namirembe Road, for the most part, at least at the start, after the lights, you're going to experience a delay due to this orange zone that I'm seeing, which is indicative of traffic jam that is starting to build. And those heading to the side of Fort Road, I see that where Fort Road joins Old Kampala Road, you might experience a delay here because a part of Old Kampala is a red zone, indicative of traffic jam that has built up as of this morning. Actually, the longest stretch on Old Kampala Road is red as of this morning. And of course, where Gaddafi Road connects to Old Kampala, we are seeing intense traffic that is coming through from Gaddafi Road. And of course, General Road is also bringing in intense traffic from that side of town. Now, following where these two roads join Old Kampala, that's when we start to experience the traffic jam that we are seeing in this area. And it goes on and on up until where now Old Kampala connects to Rubaga Road and Mwanga 2 Road. Now, if these are the areas you're headed to, you should know that you might experience delays. And if there are delays right now, it means that even in the coming 30 minutes or even an hour, you might still be on the road, because even Semgoma Road is an orange zone. And of course, as it transitions into Mwanga 2 Road, we still see orange zones coming through. So, like I usually say, when you lose a few minutes in the morning, it might affect how much time you spend on the road, especially if you're headed to work. Now, imagine if you have an interview or a business meeting that you can't miss. What you do? Leave home earlier than usual so that you don't get yourself stuck in traffic jam. Well, my name is Olive Monica Najuma. I'll be here tomorrow, same time, to give you traffic updates. But Good Morning Uganda continues.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free. The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services to citizens through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective policy implementation. A transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and propelling infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming soon on your public broadcaster, The Front Bench, your interface with the government every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with Joram Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Mutego.
Yikwaya dola wini kune. Arasonga muriyo. Atekeri na itesa ibija sesi.
UBC Mutego.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Junko. Yo. What? Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are,
but you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
PDM, my parish, my development, my life. This weekend on UBC.
The word in my mind is testosterone. A man who is overflowing with testosterone. The hormone.
God placed hormones in that man for his own glory, for the man could be the man that God wants him to be. But the man now is being ruled by the hormones. Are these hormones meant to direct the man and tell him what to do, or the man is supposed to control the hormones?
What you call omusajja, oba obusajja n'obwami, manhood, is an office. To be a man is an office. It's a calling. It is more than science. It's more than gender. It's more than sex. It's a responsibility.
It's a function.
It's a function. Now,
not a title.
No.
This weekend on UBC.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyutono. It is a very lovely Thursday. It's not raining. The weather is fairly okay for people in Kampala. I want to believe in the 5 divisions. That is the weather. I don't know where you are and you're watching what the weather is like. But one thing I know, January was a rainy month. Now February, things may differ slightly looking at some of the reports that are coming in from the meteorology department, where they're saying that Feb, we shall have some bit of sunshine in most parts. Of course, with some few exceptionals where rain will be. So at least now, you may not worry so much about the rain. Today, again, I choose to discuss something very, very important, and that is cooperatives. And we are looking at digitalization of SACCOs, village banks, saving institutions, to mention but a few. We know that government, of late, one of the methods they use to support people is through groups. Many of us know when you talk about SACCOs, easily connect, but SACCOs are cooperatives. But also we know that there have been big challenges when it comes to various investment clubs of the common people, omuntu wa bulijjo, where you agree and say so and so is going to keep our monies, then at the end of the month, or we have a revolving fund, we develop ourselves. Because if you want to run longer, then run with colleagues. But if you want to run faster and shorter distance, then you can go alone. Now with money, it's a long distance. So you need people to run along with you. I was even told in these international competitions that there's what they call a match or pacemaker, someone whose aim may not be necessarily to win, but encourage their teammate. Now on set, I have the man I call cooperatives, because he's been in the cooperative movement for quite some time. But also he's very passionate about fighting poverty through the cooperative model. It once worked in our country, and government is taking that route. Now join me, welcome Ivan Asimwe, who is the General Secretary, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning, our viewers. Good morning, Ugandans. I'm always happy to be here to really share a lot with Ugandans, and I'm always very happy with the UBC for giving us the opportunity as cooperators to come here and share issues to do with the cooperatives. I'm happy.
Well, we are excited every time we have you, because we strongly believe that through the cooperative model, the issue of poverty is something that we can once wake up and say it's no more. Then just next to me, I have a lady from an institution that is doing all it takes to digitalize these saving groups I've talked about, the village banks, the SACCOs, the investment clubs, all these, the group clubs. Now I have Halima Natukunda, who is the relationships manager and institutional banking at the Housing Finance Bank. Halima, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, UBC, for the opportunity. Housing Finance is 100% a local bank, and we are glad to partner with Uganda Cooperative Alliance to give you a solution. Thank you so much.
Now let's begin at that. When you talk about a solution for what? And what problem are you solving in this partnership?
The very first item that we found as a challenge on cooperatives, groups, and SACCOs is poor saving culture, and it is because of costs involved, like distance, transport costs, then lack of capital, then mismanagement of funds. So this solution was introduced, brought on board basically to solve all these issues. This app is called the HFB Investor App, and it's an application that is free of charge by Housing Finance Bank. It was launched last month, and with it, you're able to do monitor your savings by viewing using the system. You're able to save by sending money through your mobile phone. You're able to apply for a loan. You're able to request for a withdrawal. This app helps both members and then the administrators. For members, it's the convenience that it comes with, and you can access it on the mobile app. And it also appears on the web version. as long as the administrator is seated somewhere in the office and they have internet, they are able to view this app. If a member requests for a withdrawal, they are able to authorize. So it also helps the administrator to be able to approve. For example, your secretary and your chairperson are in different areas. One is in Kabale, another one is in Kampala. If a member requests to withdraw their funds, one person can approve at the comfort of their office, and another one approves at the comfort of their home. Thank you.
Now this takes me to Ivan. You're the cooperators, you're the people pushing for this. And of course we know this is one way that government is looking at fighting poverty through ensuring that people come together, they save, they borrow amongst themselves. If possible and where possible, government injects money into this saving. Talk about the parish development model, talk about the youth livelihood, talk about GLOW, all programs you can talk about. That is how government is moving towards. But this app, how is it a solution, and or what problems is it addressing from the cooperative's view?
Yeah, thank you so much once again. You know, first of all, I'm very happy with the Housing Finance Bank for coming up with this innovation. It's a very good innovation. My experience in the cooperative is 20 years now. I have really seen a lot, especially going now to your question, making it easy for the smallholder farmers, for other categories of people to either save or access loans has been a very big challenge. Yes, you are right. Government has come up with very many innovations. The parish development model, Emyoga, and other programs, all aiming at how people can save and also access credit, or even invest. But the challenge has been, how possible is it? For example, I am an accountant seated in Kampala, or I'm in Kabare, but I want to save in my circle. Accountants have a circle, the ICPAU circle. So how do I transact? And many people, many cooperators have been coming, they have been approaching UCA. UCA, how can we, because we are now in the digital era, how can we make it easy for the cooperators to save? Because cooperators currently, they are 18 million. I think we are the largest constituency in this country. So, but the challenge has been, is it easy for them to save? So this is now a solution where, as I'm seated here in the studio, I can just get my phone and save. Without necessarily now getting into a bus, I have to go to Kabare, where my account is in the circle. I have to save. You can imagine I want to save 10,000, but I need 100,000 to travel to go and save. So this one is the solution.
Now are you saving?
Now, yes, I'm saving with this app. Very easy now.
Saying, if you're going to save 10,000 and you're using 100,000, are you saving?
That's not a business. You'd rather stay here. So in other words, people have not been saving, not because they don't have the money, but the avenues for saving have been a bit limited. So now this one opens up for whoever wants to save. You can imagine I'm in a garden, I have my phone, and you don't need a smartphone, any phone, even a Kabiriti, the smallest phone, with the buttons. You just press, and then the money moves from the phone to the bank. If you want to get a loan, there are also processes. You apply for a loan without necessarily going to the circle. Now, on the side of the circle, it is also, this one has been my dream. I worked in the circle for 9 years, from cashiering up to general manager. Cashier, loans officer, accountant, assistant manager, manager, general manager. And through that process, we are purely using a manual system.
That is paper.
You can imagine, paper. Even at a certain point, when I was a general manager, we bought these, we now installed the softwares, the loan performer, the finance solutions. But this one is very unique, because with the other systems that we're using, still a member must go to the circle physically to save and also access a loan. But the beauty with this one is that you can transact wherever you are, even if you're a member of, let's say, accountant circle and you're in Karamoja, you have your money, you don't want to risk moving with the cash, you just directly use your phone and save this money on your account. If you want a loan, you also do the same. You are stuck, you're on the way, and then the loan can easily be transferred. I think this is the best, and I want to thank the collaboration. I really appreciate that collaboration between Uganda Cooperative Alliance and our local bank, which is Housing Finance Bank. I wish the other banks could look at this. How do we help these people at the grassroots? How do we ensure that most of these government programs succeed? They can only succeed if we create such avenues for people to save and also access loans.
You've just reminded me, I was listening to some case on social media where the wife was saying, I had the money, but because I had to take it to the bank, my husband took it for drinking.
True.
And I'm like, now if there is such a method, then the other said, now for me when I get money, I send on my friend's phone who's near the banking institution, so he takes it there. By the end of the year, when we sat, because some of these groups save, a person saves, and then on the 18th of December or 23rd before Christmas, they sit, then the money is withdrawn and everyone gets their portion.
And the challenge that we have been having now, especially in those groups, is where towards December there, when it is time for sharing whatever you have invested, you hear the treasurer, the chairman, they have vanished with the people's money. And it is so challenging that you, the saver, because you could not access your statement, then it is hard even to establish how much money you had saved. But with this app, you are able to look at your statement daily, per hour, per minute, per second. You can easily click the button and say, hey, I have saved 90, I have saved 100, which is very, very, very good. You have brought a very good example. Some of these circles, I may not mention one, but how it started is because you see in that area, women work more than men. I tell you, in this country, in most regions, women work most than men. To the extent that you find a woman on top of a house, thatching, when a man is drinking. So, whenever women would come back from work with money 5,000 then, that was how much they were paying per day, labor. Now, the woman would now feel uncomfortable to keep this money at home because the man would come and take it by force. So these women, whenever they would leave people's gardens and they are paid, they would go back, they would go through a Catholic priest and leave this money with the priest. The priest reached an extent of having envelopes for each woman. And the envelope was marked. This is Evelyn, this is Rose, this is who. So you bring your money every day. So eventually the money was too much. And the Catholic priest, of course, in the parish, was scared that possible thieves may come and attack the parish. So they said, now what do we do? How do we continue helping these women? And they eventually formed and registered a circle. And now that circle is the largest in the entire region. Why? Because people wanted to save, but avenues to save was a problem. It was a problem. So eventually, when the circle was created, now people started saving. The same story with this app. It is going to help. It has already started helping people through circles, investment clubs, these village savings and loan associations, and other these village savings associations. All these, they help the common person to save the little money that you can, because without savings, Chiraba, I tell you, the future is not easy. People must learn to save today in order for them to enjoy their future.
Now, this takes me back to Halima. Halima, when we talk about this app, who are the people that you're targeting?
The people we are targeting mainly village savings groups, who are the VSLS, and investment clubs, circles, as well as all the cooperatives. You know, this app has really solved the manual processes. Like my senior has just mentioned, the processes were very manual. So that's why Housing Finance Bank, being a people's bank, an indigenous bank, came up with these interventions. So these interventions include transaction accounts, where investment clubs and SACCO accounts and VSLAs fall. And to make it easy for people, these SACCOs are opened with no charges, free of charge, and even this application is free of charge. Now, when you talk about interventions, it also includes like lending options. Once you save with us, we are able to lend to you 300% of your savings. Assuming your village SACCO has saved 100 million, we are able to give you 300 million for own lending. Then we are also have a product of giving you an overdraft of 50%, meaning if you have 100 million, 50% will be 50 millions. And then we also have tiered interest. That transaction account of groups and VSLAs and SACCOs and all that category, we have tiered interest, meaning the interest is given according to the money you have on the account. Like from 0 to 100 million, from 100 million to 100 million, from 300 million to and above, we have interest rates. And at the moment, we are giving up to 7% per annum. So I think we have really come up with a solution, and we are targeting mainly the members. People who are up country are benefiting more because as housing finance, we have a pillar of financial inclusion. We want omuntu wawansi, everyone to benefit. So that's why these interventions are in place, and that is why this application is on your gadget at home. The small phone on USSD, on the mobile app, if you have a smartphone, yes, you can do all transactions. And I think what I didn't mention is that after requesting for this withdrawal, using our application, you can pick options. To mobile phone, there's an option of Airtel or MTN. Then to a bank account, you can say, I want to send it to my internal bank account, or I want to send it to another bank. That is EFT and RTGS. All those options are available in that application.
Very, very interesting there. So that our people now, a number of challenges they have been having as far as saving, that include distance, include colleagues being so smart and marching away with their money. That includes also saving and not being able to track what you're saving. You just assume maybe I have this amount of money there because last month I put this, but now you can track your account. However, how easy is this? I know cooperators have been so used, and you may even say rigid to the old way of doing things. So how easy do you think this transaction is going to be, this transformation is going to be?
First of all, that's why I want to thank UBC, because this is a part of awareness. What people need is awareness. And I will tell you, with my experience in the cooperatives and having worked down there in the circles, I know what is happening there. You can imagine someone wants to go and save money, maybe, take an example, you are here at Parliament Avenue, and your circle is in Wakiso, at the district headquarters. Now, you need to use a motorcycle of 15,000 to and fro. But you have only 10,000 which you wanted to save. Ideally, it means you will not save this money. You either consume it, or literally you waste it. So it has been a very big challenge. So how possible it is? It's about community awareness. And we request the government that in these programs that we are implementing as a government, let's put a lot of resources in awareness, in capacity building. People need to be told, people need to be taught that actually we need to move away from manual to digital. Now back to the circles and these village VSLAs. There is a tendency for them to believe or to think that actually digital is more expensive than manual. But practically I have to tell you that manual is more expensive than digital. How? I will just give you a scenario. When I was still in that circle and we were pure on manual, someone Chirabo comes to save money, you bring your passbook, I have to record in the passbook, 100,000, then the tier sheet, I don't know whether you know tier sheet, but these days they are not there. You have heard about it. They are not there now. Everything is just digital. So tier sheet, waste sheet, day sheet, savings control, savings ledger, then up to the balance sheet.
So there are many sheets around, and then the balance.
I tell you, a whole day, you are just in the papers from the passbook up to the balance sheet. Now, in the entire process, you make an error. Someone who deposited 100,000, but in the entire process, you add a zero. It becomes a million. There is a difference of 900,000. You can look for that difference for a whole week, including weekends. So people could not sleep. And the circles are even forced to recruit more staff because things are not balancing. So, but with this system, the moment you enter like this, from the start to the end, everything is balancing. Within just a blink of an eye, you have a report. As opposed to the other one. So, this is the best. Ugandans, we need to move away from manual, analog system to digital, because that is where the world has gone. We can no longer afford people walking for longer distances, coming to save little money, or even coming to request for loans. You can imagine someone wants a loan, he has to drive or walk. People would walk because I was in rural areas where there were no even motorcycles. People were walking. You can imagine in Kabale, the terrain of Kabale. So eventually, you have to come, you apply. You come back to check on the process. You come back again to ask, has my application been approved? No, you wait, give us a week. You go back. You again come back. Has it been approved? Yes, it has been approved. You go, the loans officer will follow. Almost like 10 times, having applied for 300,000. Now, all of that time is wasted. But with this one here, you just sit at home, press your buttons, and the application goes. Once it is approved, you have your message. And then, I think you just go there to sign the documents. And that is all. So it means that you have saved on time, you have saved your money. So that is why you find these bazungus are moving faster, because of the digital system. I will tell you, when you go to the developed world, cooperatives are doing much better. You go to Germany, go to Netherlands, go to France. This morning I was reading. Do you know that the largest financial cooperative in the world is in France? Do you know its net worth? 2.71 trillion US dollars. How much is it in Ugandan shilling, Chirab?
You are an accountant, I'm a journalist.
Can you imagine? The second largest is also in France. Come to Kenya here. The Cooperative Bank of Kenya is the largest in Africa, with a net worth of 5.29 billion US dollars. That is the cooperative. You come to Netherlands, the Rabobank, net worth of 628.5 billion euros. So cooperators, these are not stories. And how have they achieved it? Digitalization.
Now, digitalization, this brings me back to Halima. Halima, how easy is this? Because I can tell you, we had Ministry of Internal Affairs or the Immigration Department, to be very honest, came up and said, one of the ways to limit corruption, middlemen, let's digitalize getting passports. You know, it is simple application, but I want to tell you, you reach that place and you find people looking for still those who can help them through the process of applying. When there is digitalization, yes, it solves, but if the process is so much complicated, so how easy is it for my grandmother, for my grandfather, and speaking for many there, that the moment you bring this phone and you begin type again, they will say, I'd rather wait for Chirabo, give him my money.
Thank you, Chirabo, for that question. The way this investor app is done, you know, in a circle, in a group saving, you choose your chairperson, secretary, and treasurer. So after opening the account, we give you forms to sign, and then we onboard you on the app. So we onboard the management, basically the administrators. Once we have onboarded you, Chirabo, as the chairperson, him as the treasurer, and another secretary, they are the ones who onboard members. So they add them on the app, and then the process is very easy, because once you go to the mobile phone, the process just flows. And we train the administrators who also show members what to do. But it's an easy process, because they show you that you can view balance from here. You just click a button. It's basically a software that directs you where to go. You click a button, you view your balance. You click a button, you request to withdraw, and then they approve. And then also, Chirabo, allow me mention that the administrators are able to reconcile. Now this one brings me to the point of solving mismanagement of funds using this digitalization solution. Someone is able to view a statement. Even you are a member, you can go to your mobile phone and you click and you see this month withdraws, deposits, this is my balance. So it even helps the circle to reduce on the workers, because if I'm to employ 3 accountants, so now we need only 1 accountant, because you can actually, the reconciliation is very faster, and then they are able to view reports on a monthly, on a yearly, when they are going for AGMs. So basically, it is very easy to use.
Now, earlier, Ivan, you talked about saving. There are people I know who say they never move with their ATMs. The money is given an ATM by the bank, finds ways of sending it to the mother in the village. So it says, because I can quickly access my money, I find it hard to make any savings, and I would waste it. Now, the old system had a way where it made withdrawals a bit hard. We are not talking about only circles established, but if you talk about village banks, investment clubs, where someone knows that for us to get our money at the end of this, even if he wanted, it is hard for them to withdraw. But now we are at the comfort of my home. Yesterday I could have saved 100,000. Then my neighbor has a problem, he's selling his pair of shoes deep in the village. Then I'm like, now no, with the phone I can withdraw. I withdraw, I buy the pair of shoes. Then at the end of that, it befits the saving culture that you want to promote.
Mr. Chirabo, it's all about community sensitization and education. You know, once you know the purpose of saving, even if you slept with your phone, you cannot withdraw your money. But someone who does not know the discipline, someone who doesn't have, they call it financial discipline, even if he doesn't have ATM, by 8, he will be lining up at the bank to withdraw his money. So such people are there. I had a certain friend of mine who was a teacher in the village. So when the money would always be checking every day, has my salary landed on the account? When the salary lands like this, he's the first person at the bank, at the counter, and he withdraws everything until they tell him that no, you cannot withdraw up to this level. So it's about sensitization. But I remember when I was sensitizing the community, the teacher was part of the audience, and he listened very well. And I told him, please, we are poor because we are poor. And the poverty we are talking about is passing on opportunities repeatedly. I asked a question in a certain community. How many banks do we have here? There was none. How many bars do we have here? There were over 100 bars. And the question was, why do we have more bars than banks? It means people are saving more in bars than banks, but you don't save in a bar. Instead, you consume the money. So it means the marginal propensity to consume was higher than the marginal propensity to save. So immediately, we trained them. The teacher himself came and told me that I have wasted my time. All this money I've been just wasting in the bars. From today, let me buy a goat every month. Saving. The man today, he confesses that he has changed because of whatever he did to him. So what is needed? And that's why government, I think strategically, they put mindset change in the PDM. Because they realize the poverty of this country and Africa in general is not that God didn't give us resources. We are endowed. We are really a continent gifted by nature, but with poor people Why? The attitude. The problem is our attitude. So the moment you train people, the moment you educate them, they realize the importance of, and nobody should tell you that I'm not saving because I'm poor. No, it's about your culture. Even if you are earning, haven't you seen someone whose salary is 300,000 is doing better than someone whose salary is $1 million? Why? It depends on your financial discipline. If you get money today, there are some people when they get money, they get salary like this, they become mad for a whole week. You'll never even see him. When he eats the money and is done, he's a disciplined man, he comes back home. There is another one, when he gets his salary, he plans very, even if the salary has not come, he has planned very well. He knows how much to save, how much to pay for school fees and other basics. So it's not that if you have money on your phone, you are going to consume it. It's about the attitude. And it is me and you and Uganda as a government that we really invest a lot of money in mindset change so that people can learn, understand why they need to save, why they should not consume all the money, because people must know that tomorrow the future is there to tell. If you don't do it today, the future will judge you.
The future will judge you. Indeed, it is important for you to save, but how easy is it for you to save of that portion that you decide to save on your money? Now, we are discussing digitalization of SACCOs, village banks, investment clubs. How do we ensure that what has been done in the analog manner, where you have books, where you have records, so many, in case they get lost and in case something has happened? Someone was telling me when a certain village bank caught fire, I said, no. Someone deliberately, because now they know we are demanding them, so they have decided to destroy their records. Then a friend of mine told me of someone who decided to chew and swallow a book, a textbook, because they were telling him, no, it is in that book where we've been writing. When we bring our monies, we put our name, the amount of money we sign. Now bring the book, we check the money you're giving us is not what we banked. And he confidently decided to chew it very fast and swallow it, and now it's called Chitabo. Now, how have people so far, since the launch, responded towards this new innovation?
Thank you for that question. We launched this HFB Investor app last month, and the way people have responded, we realized that we actually need financial literacy, and this is one thing we do that comes along with a SACCO, a group, an investment club, opening an account with us. As Housing Finance Bank, we have branches all over the country, in all regions. So once someone is an account holder, once someone shows interest in using this investor app, we are able to do financial literacy through our branches across the network. We teach you how to save. We go and teach groups the saving culture, basically. Because with even 10,000, once the saving culture is mastered very well, you can start by saving 10,000 on a daily. Yes. And I also need to mention that this withdrawal is not like mobile money withdrawing from MTN or Airtel. This withdrawal comes with authorization. As you know, with these groups and SACCOs, there's usually a signing mandate when money is to leave the account. So once you request for a withdrawal through the application, as per signing mandate, if it is 2 signatories to sign, when withdrawing in the bank, it is the same thing here. 2 signatories will authorize. So even when you request to withdraw, it will not come, they will first authorize you, then you're able to withdraw it from the account.
So the administrator knows.
The administrator knows.
They have to approve. When I send a message, they have to approve.
Yes, and there's something called two-factor authentication. Once someone, I don't know whether the English is too much there.
I'm good at that, feel comfortable.
So when someone requests for a withdrawal, it alerts you in your email if you're an administrator.
Oh.
So you're able to see. If someone approves, then it alerts the
We
second
enter even our money now tactfully.
Yes.
He wants to withdraw.
Yes, and now this
so we are able
solves,
to know and we don't approve that.
Yes, so you see this, how it is solving the mismanagement of funds as well. Yes, please.
Now let me look at some of the messages coming in. Please, you can use a WhatsApp number, but these are coming from live chat. Good morning, Uganda. I'm watching from here, Kazo district. Okay, then Kaiga Goffin. Hello, I'm watching live from Kuniro Primary Secondary School, Koboko District, North Abuku Sub-County. Thank you so much. Godfrey Wandera, good morning. Mr. Ivan, what are the requirements to apply or get into that app? Wandera Godfrey from Redeemers Traders Circle, Kaboa. Well, keep the messages coming. I'll be reading them out, but requirements to join. Ivan, let's do that.
Thank you so much. I request my comrade to answer that, but of course I want to thank the viewers that actually for your submissions, and we are there. We shall be answering all of these questions, but still I want to thank UBC for this time. Maybe she can come in to give us the criteria that is needed.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you for the questions. Basically, opening an account is the first qualification, and with opening an account, we have both savings and current. If you're registered, you open a current account, but if you're a group that is not registered, you only have bylaws, we are also able to open for you a savings account. The difference between the two is that the current account gets a checkbook, but the savings account uses savings withdrawal slips. Once you open an account, you give us the names of the administrators, and we onboard them, and this is free of charge. Of course, the other requirements like passport photos and filling in a form for the people you choose to represent you in a group or circle apply.
Okay.
I hope I've answered your question.
Then I have good morning UBC. I want to thank Ivan for elaborating on this circle digitalization. The idea, this is exactly what was discussed during commercial officers capacity building workshop held in all regions in the country. My wish is that let us start the process now. We need to help our circles from burdens of losing their savings. Thanks, Ogwal David, commercial officer, Abim District Local Government. Well, time is flying. I would love to have more of this, so that now the messages are coming in. I'll just maybe go with this one. What are the charges related to the transactions? What is the guarantee of security to the savings? I mean, cyber thugs. This is from Malinde. We do that and we are out of here. Cyber security issues.
Let me talk about the cyber security issue. This application has security functions. It's something we call an audit trail. An audit trail is that if someone authorizes something, you're able to see who authorized a transaction. And also, that audit trail is a control in itself. Like we are able to monitor whatever transactions go through. We don't, it's only the administrators who have access. I can relate this to internet banking. It has a password. I mentioned earlier, I mentioned two-factor authentication. So when we onboard and the link comes to your email, that is on the administrator side, not on the member side, because it's the administrator who adds the member. It prompts you to change to a password of your choice. So the system is very secure because you're using your password. If anything happens, it is within the circle, and the audit trail helps to know who did what.
Okay.
I thank you.
Ivan, your parting shot.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to thank Housing Finance Bank for this innovation and also for the collaboration with UCA and for really thinking about the common person, deep especially those in rural areas, and the cooperators outside there, the circles, the VSLAs and others. Please, let's move away from analog. We are now in the digital era. I want to thank you so much. I wish you the best.
Well, Alima, in a minute, please, as we get out of here. Your parting shot, yes.
Okay, I want to thank you so much for listening to us. As we are partnering with UCA, we shall be out there. We shall be continuing to talk about this application so that we may reach all areas in Uganda to be able to do financial inclusion as an indigenous bank.
Well, thank you so much, Ivan, from, that is Uganda Cooperative Alliance.
Thank you.
And of course, Alima Natkunda from Housing Finance. Well, here's an opportunity for you to ensure that you safeguard your money, but also improve the spirit of saving and working together. All the challenges, this is something that digitalization of circles, village banks, investment clubs will push very far, ensuring that we fight poverty in this country. See you in the next hour. Ruben is here with sports to let you know what happened in AFCON, but also the global sports in general. You get the updates. Good morning.
The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services to citizens through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective policy implementation. A transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and propelling infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming soon on your public broadcaster, The Front Bench, your interface with the government every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with Joram Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This weekend on UBC.
The word in my mind is testosterone. A man who is overflowing with testosterone, the hormone.
God placed hormones in that man for his own glory, for the man could be the man that God wants him to be. But the man now is being ruled by the hormones. Are these hormones meant to direct the man and tell him what to do, or the man is supposed to control the hormones?
What you call omusajja, oba obusajja n'obwami, manhood, is an office. To be a man is an office. It's a calling. It is more than science. It's more than gender. It's more than sex. It's a responsibility.
It's a function.
It's a function. Now,
not a title.
No.
This weekend on UBC.